Now at 4, a new video shows a microburst blowing through a school gymnasium as children run for cover.
Part of the roof here at Union Intermediate School is gone, and only WRAL has an exclusive interview with one of the 3 students who was injured.
It just sounded like something exploded in there.
So how long will the school be closed?
And this front is still stuck over top of us. When does it finally clear, and when do we finally have some dry weather? I'll let you know coming up.
Investigators say a 15-year-old girl was grabbed from her bus stop here in Zebulon and raped. Her family speaks out about the terrifying ordeal.
The Triangle's #1 source for news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
Shocking video from inside a Sampson County school when a microburst hits a gymnasium. Look at this, children playing on the floor as a gust of wind knocks out a wall and hurls a metal pipe through the wall as children run for cover.
The school released this video today. WRAL's Gilbert Bays talked exclusively with one of the 3 students injured in this storm yesterday. Gilbert joins us live outside Union Intermediate School. Gilbert?
Deborah and Gerald, there's only one thing more incredible than that footage that you've shown already, and that is being one of the 3 students who was injured and was inside that gymnasium when the storm happened.
Across the road into the woods.
Did you hit your arm, your leg, your back? Tell me, give me a list of things. Who was in there when the storm happened. She suffered some minor injuries yesterday. I talked with her and her mother this afternoon. In that video, she told me that she was standing to the left not far from the stage. Now, bricks and debris started flying everywhere, and the crews spent the day cleaning up the mess. Chloe is in the 5th grade, and she is one of the students who says she can't believe that the gymnasium was blown to bits.
It was our PE day. We were playing basketball, and it just sounded like something exploded in there. So I just turned around and was looking at the stage, and it collapsed. And then we started running, and something hit me from behind, and I fell down. And then the glass started breaking.
Now, Chloe's mother says her daughter has bruises on the back from the impact of whatever hit her. And she says when she saw her at the hospital, she was conscious, but she had a neck brace on. That had to be frightening. They drove by the school this morning and saw the debris. And Carolyn Brewer says God had his hands around her daughter and all the students here at the school. I talked with the principal as well, and she looked at the footage and she says she started crying when she saw that. Pretty amazing. Deborah and Gerald, she says, had that storm happened today at the exact time that it happened yesterday, there would have been 450 students inside that gym during an assembly meeting. And boy, she just dreads to think what the outcome would have been if that wind had blown through at that time. Just an incredible situation.
No one wants to think about that. It was scary enough as it was. Gilbert Bays, live in Sampson County. Thank you, Gilbert.
Unbelievable. Good thing those kids got out of there as quickly as they did. Fortunately, we are seeing nothing like that today. Meteorologist
Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, tracking just some spotty rain now. People are even seeing some sunshine.
Right. It's a much different picture this afternoon. And if you were with us on WRAL yesterday, we told you the highest chance of rain is in the morning. That's what we're seeing today. Actually starting to see a few breaks in the clouds at Dix Park. Really beautiful out there right now. And on satellite, anything you see in white, that's the thick cloud cover. In the black is where we have breaks in the clouds. You can see we're finally starting to see breaks in the clouds around the Triangle, down into Fayetteville. It's really not a bad evening. Still a few lingering showers left, but the showers that were moving through Rocky Mount and Wilson just a short time ago have cleared out of the area. Still some showers moving through Hope County right now, starting to dry out a bit for Southern Pines, but we have a more significant pattern change on the way, and that involves both dry weather and some winter temperatures finally return to the forecast in 2 days. And we're going to talk more about those changes in about 10 minutes.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Kat.
More residents in Durham public housing are retreating to hotels today. This comes one day after a WRAL investigation found high levels of carbon monoxide at yet another Durham public housing complex, this time Hoover Road Apartments. Contractors were there today conducting inspections. WRAL's Cullen Browder just questioned the head of the housing authority again. He joins us live with what he had to say. Cullen?
Gerald, this is a safety issue with public housing here in Durham that gets bigger by the day. We've been talking about McDougal Terrace for weeks and the carbon monoxide concerns there that have driven people from their homes. Well, today, HVAC contractors hired by Durham Housing Authority shifted to Hoover Road Apartments to conduct inspections of the gas stoves and heaters there. This comes just one day after WRAL Investigates enlisted the help of a certified home inspector and who detected high levels of CO in 2 randomly selected units. Contractors went door to door today looking for more problems. We saw various stoves taken out and replaced in apartments. We know some residents have moved out into hotels. We asked the Housing Authority CEO about the scope of concerns at Hoover Road.
There was, I think, 4 inspections that were done yesterday based on some of the information you gave us, actually. And there was one unit that had a stove issue, which was immediately replaced yesterday. We're going through those inspections today, and as they are discovering issues, they're doing repairs for those units now. And if it becomes a situation where it's something that can't be immediately dealt with, then we would offer that person an opportunity to leave if they chose to.
So at this point, Anthony Scott says he does not have firm numbers on how many apartments have actually been impacted, how many residents have actually moved into hotels. We do know of at least 2 so far. Now let's move back to McDougal Terrace. He updated us on some of the numbers. So listen to this. 211 stoves emitted dangerous levels of carbon monoxide at McDougal Terrace, 38 furnaces, 35 water heaters. So you're talking about 60% or so of units at McDougal Terrace impacted by carbon monoxide levels. At this point, it's still unclear when those residents will be able to move back in. We'll have more from my colleague Sloan Heffernan coming up at 5 o'clock. Gerald.
Boy, this is becoming a major safety issue. Colin Browder live in Durham. Thank you, Colin.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center. This is a photograph right here of Marcus Deshaun Allen. He was a music teacher in Fayetteville at Cornerstone Christian Academy. He was found dead outside of his home in Harnett County, and investigators are releasing new information this afternoon about that death. Here's what we know right now. They do believe he was killed and his body was found in his front yard. They also are confirming there was trauma to his body when investigators found him late on Sunday as well. As of right now, no suspect has been arrested in this case. They are looking for more information. There was a call from 911 that came in about the body that was found in front of his home. Again, Marcus Deshaun Allen now being labeled as a homicide investigation. They are searching for the killer this afternoon. Back to you.
Thank you, Mark. A 15-year-old girl raped on the way to the bus stop. The suspect is in the Wake County Jail being held on a $1 million bond. WRAL's Amanda Lamb joins us from there with what she's learned about this case. Amanda?
Deborah, he was arrested on Thursday, and as you said, he's here at the jail. But today there were search warrants returned that give us more details about this case, disturbing details. One of them is that after the assault, the victim says she told investigators that the suspect used Google Translate to tell her she was pretty, he wanted to be friends, and to tell her not to tell anyone about what happened. Now, this is because 33-year-old Victor Ramirez does not speak English, according to investigators. He grabbed that 15-year-old girl when she was on her way to her bus stop in Zebulon, pulled her into his car, took her to his home, to a shed behind the home, raped her, and then again, according to the victim and investigators, drove her to school. The school called 911 and the girl's family. We are not identifying the girl's father in order to protect her privacy.
Took her from the bus stop in his car, drove her around behind his house, and then took her into a shed.
I mean, as a parent, this just had to tear you up.
Yep. It's one of the worst phone calls you could ever get, and one of the hardest things to try to deal with.
Now, we're still working to learn whether or not Ramirez is in the country legally. He does not have a criminal record here in North Carolina. And the father of that victim says he was someone that people in that community were concerned about. Now, we are also not identifying the school because of the privacy of the victim, but we can tell you we talked to the Wake County school system today, and they tell us the school is cooperating with the investigation. Again, they called in investigators, and they also gave them surveillance video of that suspect driving that 15-year-old to school after she says she was assaulted. Deborah.
What a difficult time for this family. Amanda Lamb, live in Raleigh. Thanks, Amanda.
A former U.S. Army Green Beret pleaded guilty to conspiracy to steal money from the federal government that was meant to support the armed forces mission in Afghanistan. 46-year-old William Chamberlain could face as many as 15 years in prison. Prosecutors say he and 4 other members of the 3rd Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg were involved. They stole nearly $200,000 while deployed to Afghanistan in 2009 and 2010. The 5 soldiers had access to government funds. The 4 other soldiers pleaded guilty in 2014. A Fort Bragg soldier is being held without bond, charged with killing his wife. Military police arrested Sean Pinheiro Perez last night. His wife, Hillary, was shot to death in their Hope County home Christmas Eve.
A man released from prison after serving a sentence for second-degree murder is once again in trouble with the law. Raleigh police arrested 40-year-old Damian Herring. He's charged with robbing a fast food restaurant in Wake Forest and another in Raleigh. In one robbery, police say he fired a gun through a glass door of a Hardee's. Herring is being held on nearly $2 million bond.
White House officials say President Trump is not expected to delay his State of the Union address because of his impeachment trial. The speech is weeks away, and the Senate impeachment trial is even closer, potentially starting this week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will vote Wednesday on a resolution to appoint impeachment managers and transfer the articles of impeachment to the Senate. The 2020 State of the Union is set for February 4th.
Protesters faced each other today in Iran. Opposing student groups protested about Iran's military shooting down the Ukrainian passenger plane last week, killing 176 people on board. Anti-government protesters were angered by how long it took the government to take responsibility for the crash. Pro-government protesters said the elite Revolutionary Guard should not be undermined for the mistake. They burned an American flag, saying the United States is to blame for stoking tensions in the region.
Jury selection continues today in the trial of disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein. He's charged with raping one woman and sexually assaulting another. Weinstein denies the charges, insisting that any contact was consensual. Jury selection is in its initial phase, with more than 100 potential jurors passing the pre-screening last week. A more intense phase is set to begin Thursday, with lawyers asking more detailed questions about the prospective jurors' backgrounds.
Boeing reports it had more cancellations than new orders last year. Today, the company reported its final order numbers and deliveries for 2019. They were as bad as expected. Boeing's total orders for commercial jets fell by 87 jets. Deliveries tumbled 53% from 806 to 380. It's due to the grounding of the 737 MAX following 2 fatal crashes, killing more than 300 people.
Coming up, a librarian pleads guilty to stealing some of the rarest books in the world. How he was able to get away with it, coming up. Plus,
the General Assembly back in session, what the largest teacher organization wants from lawmakers while they're in town.
And get this, a cat fights off 3 coyotes. That's right, scaring them away from the home, and this was all caught on camera. We'll have the video at 5.
Welcome back. I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center. A scene unfolding right now in Los Angeles. Several students at an elementary school are being treated. They're inside this building for skin irritation. Investigators are telling us a plane on approach there at LAX airport did what they describe as a fuel dump, and these kids were out on the playground, and now they're being treated again for that skin irritation. The Los Angeles County Fire Department tweeting this about 15 minutes ago. This is in West Coast time. 70 firefighters and paramedics on scene and committed to providing care for those injured. Initial reports right here highlighted in blue stated they did have the smell of jet fuel in the area. Back over here in the Live Center, you see all of these people. Those are believed to be parents of some of the kids inside. So they're treating these people inside, the students, possibly some staff. Certainly a lot of concerned parents and family members here this afternoon trying to get to their kids. We'll keep an eye on this here in the Live Center.
Well, a very bizarre story there. Mark, thank you. The U.S. Census Bureau launched an extensive ad campaign today to make sure everyone is counted in 2020. The national outreach includes more than 1,000 ads in 13 languages. This one is in Mandarin Chinese.
重新统计住在美国的每个人，这些数据有助规划公共。
The ad targets hard-to-reach and hard-to-count groups in the U.S. The $500 million campaign is built on the slogan, Shape Your Future, Start Here.
A Pittsburgh area librarian has pleaded guilty to stealing some of the rarest books in the world. Greg Piori was once the chief archivist at the Carnegie Library. Over the span of 2 decades, he says he and local bookshop owner John Schulman were able to steal and sell more than $8 million in rare reads, such as a 17th century Bible and a journal from George Washington. Both men will be sentenced this spring.
Authorities in Durham are looking for 3 men who robbed a convenience store. These are surveillance pictures from last night at the Handy Hugo's on Pleasant Drive. Deputies say two men went inside the store around 10:45 armed with a rifle and a handgun. They robbed the clerk and took off in a car driven by a third suspect. If you have any information about this crime, call the Durham County Sheriff's Office. State lawmakers are back in Raleigh today for a special session. Republicans hoping to end the long budget standoff by overriding Governor Cooper's veto. But Democrats refuse to cooperate, and the stalemate goes on. Our Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live on Jones Street with the story. Laura?
Gerald, I am here in a quiet legislative building. State lawmakers are already headed home. That means there will not be a state budget deal this year and probably not one next year either, according to Senate Republican leader Phil Berger. For 7 months now, the state has been running on last year's budget because of a political standoff between GOP lawmakers and Democratic Governor Roy Cooper. All eyes were on the Senate today to see if Republicans there could convince the one Democrat vote they would need to go with them to override Cooper's vetoes. But the Democrats stood firm behind the governor. Cooper has said any budget deal must include some type of Medicaid expansion. Berger says Senate Republicans won't consider it, but Senate Democratic leader Dan Blue says the GOP needs to come to the table.
In this system, until you can get 61% plus of the legislature willing to override the governor's budget, then they must compromise. They must move away from the original positions that they took. And that's what they've been unwilling to do.
Now, today's failed override session may be a political win for Cooper and Democrats, but it's definitely not a win for folks who are left waiting for extra money. That includes schools and capital projects that were waiting for new funding this year from lawmakers, as well as teachers and university workers who still haven't had a raise this year, unlike most other state employees, and now may not see one until 2021. Cheryl?
Laura Leslie in a nearly empty General Assembly building. Laura, thank you. Coming up at 4:30, we'll show you what North Carolina teachers are demanding from lawmakers.
Well, it's so nice now to see the sun out. I feel like we're finally going to be able to dry out.
Oh my gosh! And you know, I'm over the rain. Okay,
yeah.
Pastures are soaked. The animals are wet. We're all looking for some dry air.
All of the animals need some baths after this week. I've been holding off until Thursday. That's when you can finally give your dog a bath. You dry out, leave the umbrella at home. We do have rain chances tomorrow, though. Tonight, we are starting to dry out this evening. Still some wet roads there at Rocky Mount Mills, but your evening commute is looking pretty good. It's mostly cloudy, some peaks of sunshine here and there, and a few stray showers will be possible, but most of us will be dry for the evening commute, and the temperature should be in the mid to upper 60s. Very mild. And here are rain chances for the next 5 days. We had an 80% chance of rain this morning, to put this into perspective. Rain chances tomorrow are at 40%, so some scattered showers will be possible. It's not a washout day by any means. It wouldn't hurt to have an umbrella with you, though. Thursday is dry. Friday is dry. Our next system that we're watching will likely move in Saturday, and then we are dry again on Sunday. Drier pattern ahead and also a cooler pattern ahead. Still tracking a few sprinkles here and there, though. So let's take a little tour of radar. Nice and dry around the triangle if you're leaving work right now. A dry evening commute just to the north along the Virginia line. Not seeing any rain right now. We finally are seeing the rain move out of Rocky Mount, Wilson, our eastern communities, and to the south, that's where we are still tracking some showers. Rain moving through Rayford right now, Fayetteville as well. This is moving into the southern part of Cumberland County. This is the back edge of the rain in southern Pines. So in southern Moore County, you are almost done with this little round of rain. It will continue to move east, so the one area we're going to be watching for the evening commute will be likely Fayetteville as well as Clinton. Two areas, I should say. And then that moves on out of here, and rain chances just very patchy for most of the evening. We've got a 30% chance of rain at 6 and 7 o'clock. That number goes down to just 20% after 8 o'clock tonight. Not too bad out there tonight. Tomorrow, the chance of showers staying mild tomorrow. I have to say, though, tomorrow's temperature forecast is a very, very tricky one. And that's because we have this front that's just stuck over top of us. And that front also divides the cooler air to the north and the warmer air to the south. We've seen that today. Temperatures in Roxborough today in the 50s, upper 60s if you go down to Durham there as well as Raleigh, 70s for Fayetteville and Clinton. And we are likely going to have a big change in temperatures tomorrow as well, ranging ranging from the 50s to the north all the way to the 70s to the south again. Dog walking weather this evening, pretty mild around the triangle, mostly cloudy still, but mainly dry, and plenty of clouds stick around tonight. Some breaks in the clouds still possible, but that's going to keep temperatures in the 50s and 60s tonight. And town by town tomorrow, a few showers with highs ranging from the upper 50s to upper 60s tomorrow afternoon. If we get to see a few peaks of sunshine, it's not out of the question for some of our southern communities to be in the 70s again. We've got one more mild day tomorrow. Thursday, you see 62, but we have this arrow to let you know temperatures will fall throughout the day, so it's going to be cooler in the afternoon than the morning, and then the cold air sticks around for the rest of the forecast. We'll have more on that coming up at 4:30.
Ooh, 23 for lows. That is, we're going to feel that. Thanks, Kat.
Coming up, tennis players in Australia are facing some big challenges before the Australian Open.
Coming up, how smoke from the fires is affecting the athletes.
And get this, a 6-year-old wants to help the animals in Australia. We'll show you his project that is taking off. Coming up in What's Trending. It's time now for a look at what's trending.
One adorable zoo animal certainly does not mess around when it comes to playtime. This is Balam, you see right here. Staffers caught him enjoying a toy in his enclosure. The big cat figured out how to have some fun with his makeshift swing. The zoo posted the video on Facebook asking which video should he star in. Well, the comment suggests he definitely is giving off the wrecking ball vibes, channeling similar moves as popular pop star Miley Cyrus from her 2013 music video.
Or cat scratch fever.
There you
from
go.
Back in the day.
Very appropriate.
A 6-year-old from Massachusetts is creating homemade koalas for a noble cause. This is adorable. Owen Colley's mother said when he learned of the devastating fires in Australia, he wanted to help. So he started making these adorable creatures one at a time to try and sell them and earn money so he can help the recovery effort. He's making them one. Look at that. Aren't they cute? 6 years old.
Animals who have been hoarded by the Australian bushfires.
Oh, hurted.
The aminals. And those who make a donation will receive a koala. He's raised $1,200 so far. Owen says helping animals is better than watching TV.
Oh, and they're adorable, too. Good for him. What a great heart he has. Still ahead, a Fort Bragg soldier pleads guilty for stealing government money meant to support troops in Afghanistan. How he was involved in the Green Beret scheme coming up.
And is your gut feeling good? 5 on your side. Monica Liberty shares a new study on how foods affect your mood and what to eat to feel happy.
And as we go to break, the closing numbers on Wall Street, a relatively flat day.